Hi, today what we're going to do is go over notes 1, which is solving some multi-step equations and then simplifying, evaluating, and translating some expressions. So on problem number 1, the first thing we're going to do, we don't have an equal sign, so we're not going to solve it. Well, all we're going to do is combine like terms. So I always start with my variable terms first. So I have 4x and 6x, which gives us 10x. And then I have -5 minus 1. I have a little song to the tune of Row, Row Your Boat, and it goes like this. Same signs, add and keep, different signs subtract. Take the sign of the higher, then you'll be exact. So those are the same signs. They both have a negative, so we add 5 and 1 makes 6, and then keep the sign, the same sign. And that is our final answer. There's nothing else we can do that because the 6 doesn't have an x with it to combine with the 10x, so we're done. Let's go on to number 2. Here we have, we're going to use the distributive property. -3 is our distributive property. So I usually go hippity, hoppity, distributive property. So -3 times x is -3x. -3 times, and this is a -7. Again, you always observe the sign in front of the number. So -3 times -7 is positive 21 minus 6x. Then I combine my like terms, which are my variable terms. So I have -3x and -6x. Again, same signs, add and keep. So this will be a 9x with a negative, and then plus 21, and that's it. We don't have any more like terms. Over here, make sure on number 3 that you use the order of operation. So when we start with the order of operation, it's PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P is for parentheses, not subtraction first. So do not do 3 minus 2. We're going to take this -2 right here, and we're going to hippity, hoppity, and use the distributive property. So we're going to bring down the 3, and then -2 times x is -2x. -2 times, and again, this is a -9. So -2 times -9 is positive 18. I'm going to bring down my -2x. I don't have any other x terms, and I'll combine my 3 with my 18 and get positive 21, and that's my final answer there. So on problems 1, 2, and 3, we were just simplifying. So now we get to problems 4, 5, and 6, and it has an equal sign. So we are actually going to solve for the variables here, but we're still going to kind of go through the same process of combining like terms here. So our 1y minus 4y, so that's like a 1. So 1 minus 4, same signs, add and keep, different signs subtract. So 1 minus 4 gives us a -3. So again, let me sing that song one more time. Same signs, add and keep, different signs subtract. Take the sign of the higher, then you'll be exact. So the 4 is my higher number, and it's a negative. So that's why that's a -3y equals -30. And so now I always draw a line down through my equal sign. That separates the equation from the left side and the right side. So now I've got a constant term here. That 3 is my constant. This is my variable term. They're on the same side. So I'm going to need to move one of these over here. Well, my -30 is a constant. So I need to move my constants, move them together. So I'm going to get rid of this 3. So the inverse of a positive 3 would be a -3. Whatever I do to one side, I also do to the other. That cancels out. Please make sure you bring down that negative with the 3y. And then here we have same signs, add and keep. Here we go. And then on this last step, we're going to divide both sides by -3. So we have y equals -33 divided by -3 is 11. And you can always plug 11 back in place of each y to see if that left side will be equal to -3. Number 5, we're going to hippity-hoppity, distributive property. So -3 times 2x is -6x. -3 times -5 is positive 15. And that's equal to -21. We don't have anything to combine. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line down through the equal sign. And I have a constant of 15 on the left and a constant of a negative 21 on the right. So I'm going to get that 15, move that over to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. Bring down my negative 6x equals, same signs, add and keep. So this will be a negative 36. Divide both sides by negative 6. And x will give me a positive 6. And again, you can do the same thing to check it by putting 6 in place of x and seeing if that will be equal to, the left side will be equal to negative 21. Over here on problem 6, I have a variable term and a constant on the left, and then I've got a constant on the right of 8. So I'm going to move the negative 6 over. So anytime we move something from one side to the other, we use the inverse sign. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. Bring down negative 2/3 x equals 8 and 6 is 14. Now, I'm sure there are many ways that some of your 7th and 8th grade teachers have taught you to get rid of a fraction. One way that seems to be kind of less confusing for some students is to get rid of the denominator. So to get rid of the denominator, I'm going to multiply that by 3. And what happens is it cancels out. But remember, when solving equations, whatever you do to one side, you must also do to the other. All right, so what I have left is negative 2x equals, and 14 times 3 is 42. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And x is equal to negative 21. And there's that. And again, you could always plug negative 21 in place of x there. And you could put all this in your calculator if you wanted to see if the left side is going to be equal to the negative 21 that's on the right side. All right, let's see what we have down here. Now we're going to solve equations using multi-step. So we're going to distribute, combine like terms, and possibly a two-step. So it's going to be a little bit more in detail from problems 4, 5, and 6. So let's take a look at number 7. Let's see, we can't do anything with that 6x, so we're going to bring that down. And now our 5 is our distributor, so we're going to hippity-hoppity. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. And then we combine like terms. So we have our 6x plus 5x is 11x minus 25 equals 52. Now it's a two-step equation, just like we did above on problems 4 through 6. So I have a variable, a constant, and a constant. So let's get that negative 25 over to the other side. So I'm going to add 25, add 25. So those cancel. So bring down my 11x equals 52 and 25 is 77. We're going to divide by 11. And 77 divided by 11 is 7. So x equals 7 is the final answer on that one. All right, let's look at problem 8. So we have negative 7c plus, and here's our distributor right there. So I'm going to bring down my negative 7c. And 3 times 2c is 6c. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And then on our next one, we are going to combine like terms. So negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1c. And I'm going to go ahead and put the 1. I know a lot of times we just bring down the negative c, but I'm actually going to put a negative 1 there. Minus 21 equals negative 5. So now I've got a variable term, a constant, and a constant over here. So I'm going to draw a line down through the equal sign that separates the equation into a left side and a right side. I'm going to use the inverse of a negative 21, which is a positive 21. Those cancel. So I bring down my negative 1c equals, and basically this is 21 minus 5. You could use the song, same signs, add and keep, different signs, subtract. Take the sign of the higher, then you'll be exact. So my higher number is 21 and it's positive. So that'll be a positive 16. And then I divide by -1. Now my pencil is lagging here, or my pen is kind of throwing me off. But your final answer, what did I put, 16? Let me erase that. I was thinking of subtracting for some reason. 16 divided by -1 is -16. Sorry about that. All right, let's go over here to problem 9. Let me get my... It seems like it will not move up for me for some reason. There we go. All right, so on problem number 9, we're pretty much just doing kind of the same stuff. We cannot subtract here. We're going to do the order of operations. So our -2 will be our distributive property here. So we're going to bring down our 7. -2 times 4x is -8x. -2 times -3 is +6. That equals -3. All right, so our like terms are going to be the 7 and the 6. So we're going to bring down the -8x, and 7 plus 6 is 13. All right, then we're just down to a two-step equation. We have on the left a variable term and a constant, and on the right a constant. So I'm going to get a 13 over to the other side. So I have a -13 here and a -13 there. So -8x equals, same signs, add and keep. Then we're going to divide both sides by -8. So -16 divided by -8 is +2. All right, let's go on to number 10. Here we have a fraction. So there are multiple ways of doing this. A lot of times people will multiply 3 by everything. But one way that I'm going to show you again is just to take that fraction and multiply it by the 4x and the -6, and then we'll go from there. So 1/3 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4 divided by 3. We're just going to keep this as a fraction because if we were to convert it to a decimal, it would be a repeating decimal. Now, 1/3 times 6. You could put this in your calculator if you wanted to, but I'm just going to show you a way without using your calculator. You just take 1 times -6 is -6. -6 divided by 3 is -2. And then bring down your -7 equals -13. There on the left side, I do have two numbers I need to combine, the -2 minus 7. So I'm going to bring down my 4/3 x. Same signs, add and keep, equals -13. Now we're set up to do a two-step equation. So I have a variable term, a constant, and a constant. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. That cancels out. So I have 4/3 x equals -13 plus 9. So this is same signs, add and keep, different signs, subtract. Take the sign of the higher. Your 13 is your higher number and it's negative. Then you'll be exact. All right. So then what I have to do here is to get rid of my denominator. So I'm going to multiply by 3, multiply by 3. So that cancels out. So I have 4x equals -4 times 3 is -12. And then I divide both sides by 4. So -12 divided by 4 is -3. Problem 11. This is where we have our distributor as well. So we're going to do our hippity hoppity distributive property. So we're going to have negative W plus 4 times W is 4W. 4 times 3 is 12 equals negative 12. All right, so then we have our like terms right here, our variables. So this is understood to be a negative 1 plus 4. So we have different signs. Same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Take the sign of the higher, then you'll be exact. So 4 is your higher number and it's positive. Plus 12 equals negative 12. So now we're ready to divide this equation in two. And I'm going to take this 12 and move it to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So I have 3W equals, same signs, add and keep, and then divide both sides by 3. So W equals negative 8. All right, let's look over at number 12 here. So we're going to use our distributive property first. Don't do the subtraction. We're going to bring down our negative 6. And then negative 5, 6 times x is just minus 5 over 6x. And then we can go negative 5 times negative 12. That gives us 60. Divided by 6 right there gives us 10. And then we have equals 9. So then we're going to combine, let's see, our negative 6 right here and our positive 10. We're going to bring down our negative 5, 6x. So negative 6 plus 10. Same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Take the sign of the higher right there. Then you'll be exact. So basically it's 10 minus 6, which is 4, equals 9. All right, so now I believe that I'm ready to divide this equation in two. So there's nothing else we can do. And then I'm going to move the 4 over. So this will be a minus 4, minus 4. Cancels out. Bring down our negative 5 over 6 equals 9 minus 4 is 5. All right, remember how we get rid of that denominator? We're going to multiply by 6. So that cancels out, which is what we want to happen. But whatever you do to one side, you must also do to the other. I believe I forgot to bring down my x here. So we're going to bring down negative 5x equals 30. 5 times 6 is 30. And then we divide both sides by negative 5. All right, that cancels out. So our x is equal to 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is to evaluate. I know this seems like a lot, but this is kind of a review of what you've been doing the last couple years. So we're hoping that you kind of catch on and clean out some of those cobwebs, and so we can move on to other algebraic things. All right, so here we're going to evaluate. So we're going to put negative 2 in place of x. But notice, we need to bring down that negative sign first. So there's a negative. And then our 2 will go in place of our x. Minus our y is 4. So minus a negative becomes a positive. Or you can say the opposite of a negative is a positive. So 2 minus 4. These are different signs. Same signs add and keep. Different signs subtract. Take the sign of the higher. Then you'll be exact. All right. So here we're getting an actual number. We're putting numbers in place of letters. All right. Let's take a look at 14. Now this is a little tricky because they put y first. So make sure that you substitute the correct number in place of y, minus 2 times x. So I'm going to put parentheses, and our x is negative 2. All right, so we have 4. Now, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So our final answer would be 8. All right, let's take a look at number 15. Here we have an exponent. So let's bring our 3 down, and I'm going to substitute negative 2 in place of x, and then that's going to be squared. Now we need to do our exponents first. I know that p is parentheses, but there's only that number negative 2 inside the parenthesis. If the 3 was in there with it, yeah, we would multiply or do whatever we need to. But the 3 is not inside the parentheses. So parentheses, exponents. We can go ahead and calculate the exponent here. So negative 2 squared. That means negative 2 times negative 2, which is 4. Now, 3 times 4 is 12. The last section is on translations. One thing that you need to be aware of are the 3 tricky turnaround words: from, into, and than. And there's an acronym for FIT, if that helps you remember. This is where you're going to use, you need to reverse the order that the sentence is listed if one of those tricky turnaround words is there. Also, another thing is you're going to use parentheses if the sentence begins with a number. So I will address that when I get to that. Such as on number 16. We have 6 times the difference of a number and 7. So if you have like 3 different things, you have the number 6, you have a number, which will be a variable, and you have 7. So you have 3 different things. So if the sentence begins with a number, so in this situation it does, that's where you're going to use parentheses. So it's not this one. This is parenthesis. This one's not parenthesis. And then this one's none of the above. So let's just take a look. 6 times the difference. Difference means to subtract of a number and 7. So then this would be the correct answer there. Now, if it began with, let's say 6 wasn't there. Let's say that it began with the difference of a number and 7. There wouldn't be any parenthesis, but this begins with a number like 6. Let's look at number 17. A number less than is a tricky turnaround word, TTW. So this is where we're going to begin with the number 15. You're going to write it in reverse order. So instead of a number n minus 15, it's going to be 15 minus a number. Let's take a look at number 18. This one says the sum of 4 times a number and 3. There's not any tricky turnaround words. It does not begin with a number. Like number 16 began with 6 times. Well, number 18 just says the sum. The sum means to add. So we're going to add 4 times a number and 3. Well, A is close to it, but that's subtraction. B shows there's parentheses, which means it would, for this one, you would start with 4 times the sum of a number and 3. So it is going to be C, because the actual answer should be 4n plus 3.